Hello, and welcome to the Ultimate Pegasus Challenge. It's all about me. Do you have what it takes? I said, do you have what it takes? Thank you. All right, duelists, commence dueling.
Welcome back. This is 2015 Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading Card Game World Championship Qualifier, North American World Championship Qualifier, and we have a special treat for you this round.
Indeed we do. This is the Ultimate Pegasus Challenge. This is much like any other duel, but very, very different. Throughout the course of this match, Pegasus will be announcing rule changes that will apply to all duelists in the Ultimate Pegasus Challenge. These effects can have various degrees of impact on any given duel, ranging from extreme to very minor. And we will see throughout the course of this match how Pegasus is able to manipulate the result of this duel.
It is all at the whim of Mr. Pegasus, noted bad man, or is it genius? I can never really tell the difference between the two.
It's a little of both.
And we see that Brittany Junkless has started off with Upstart Goblin, normal summon Qliphort Stealth, set 2 cards, but how many of those cards will be safe once Mr. Pegasus begins his reign of terror?
We will see.
Qliphort is banished from the hand to summon Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, very interesting, and its ability is used to summon out Light Pulsar Dragon. Fast and Furious is one way to win the Ultimate Pegasus Challenge. If you can win before Pegasus decides to do his thing, then... Oh.
It's like...
Right. So we do have a response.
All right.
Looks like
all right, duelists.
Hold, please.
We have a new rule. You cannot attack unless you say Yu-Gi-Oh!
And the ever-classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Scream rule has just been put into effect.
So
now the duelists cannot attack.
Yes, so that's one of the low-impact rulings that Pegasus has implemented.
Low impact, but high fun.
High fun indeed, but that's what the Ultimate Pegasus Challenge is all about.
And here's what gets me, is whenever this rule comes into play, whenever this rule isn't in play, people can't stop going, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yes, that's part of the fun.
But the second it's put into play, they suddenly get very silent.
Yeah.
What do you think's up with that?
That's true. Pegasus never bans players from saying Yu-Gi-Oh! So...
I don't get it.
You would think they would continue the fun, but we'll see.
So Eclipse Wyvern was summoned. Lose 1 turn was flipped on its summon. And Kellen Duncan decided not to continue with his Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Plays back to Brittany, and she activates Qliphort Scout as a pendulum card and activates its ability. Qliphort's known for doing a lot of attacking, so Brittany's going to need to warm up those vocal cords.
Yep. That's what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is all about.
Qliphort Monolith is the search.
There it is in the second pendulum zone.
She activates that one as well. That means that she's going to get a search every single turn for 800 life points and also be able to draw cards in the end phase up to the number of Qliphorts tributed or tribute summons.
And there's 2 of them.
She pendulum summons the first one and then tributes 2 to summon Qliphort Disc. Qliphort Disc is going to summon another couple of monsters from the deck. Now the key here is with lose 1 turn, face up those monsters, if effect monsters, will be changed to defense position. And there we have the pair of carriers. They go to defense by the effect of lose a turn, but they're still going to go into the extra deck at the end phase to be pendulum summoned out later.
Yeah. That's one of the cool things about pendulum monsters. Even if you can't keep them on the field, they're not gone forever. Typically, if they would be sent to the grave, they instead go to the extra deck, where you can pendulum summon them back.
I cannot for the life of me figure out how Pegasus came up with that one. I would have never even imagined to create 2 new zones on the game map.
It's brilliant. Or perhaps it's mad.
Possibly both. Depends
Is
on which side
nobody
of the table you're
attacking?
at.
I cannot hear you.
Pegasus is disappointed that he's not hearing enough loud Yu-Gi-Oh! Screams.
And I agree. I could hear the first one from our seat back here in the booth, and I haven't heard it since, and I'm honestly disappointed.
Generally, the players in the Ultimate Pegasus Challenge are the most fun players in the tournament.
Disc takes down Eclipse Wyvern, and that lets Kellen Duncan banish a level 7 or higher Dark Dragon monster from his deck, and that's going to be Dark Arm Dragon. And later, Eclipse Wyvern.
All right, everyone, we have a new rule.
Oh, please.
Choose a monster, a spell, and a trap card from your graveyard, and set them all onto your field.
Ooh, extremely powerful, but these two aren't going to quite get full value out of it. And you set them face down.
Yes, so...
and everybody seems to be having a good time with that one.
yeah, this is getting a huge reaction from the competitors in the Ultimate Pegasus Challenge, but it's fairly low impact on this particular duel. Actually, now Eclipse Wyvern is gone.
Yeah, that's actually pretty damaging to Duncan's strategy.
So Dark Arm Dragon is now gone for good, right?
Well, unless he's got Burial from a different dimension, which I think I see in his
Which
hand.
he does.
But it'll take some work to actually get that thing back.
So it's a minor setback. As for Junclaw's...
the spirit of Helpoemma forces all duelists to discard a card at random.
Things are going horribly wrong.
Yeah,
I think Merrick has hijacked the broadcast.
It certainly looks like it. And it looks like he's using the effective fault
For
power.
those who weren't listening, the spirit of Helpoemma forces all duelists to discard a card at random.
Well, Pegasus is feeling generous, giving the ability of his Mimicat, all of the abilities of his Mimicat to everybody all at once. But Merrick is feeling quite grumpy.
No,
yes. Well, they set the cards from their own graveyard. So, but so they each gained a card. Now they each lost a card.
Spirit of Helpomer. Helpomer, a monster that waits in the graveyard and yanks cards out of the hand during every single battle phase. Has made it out of the battle phase. It's escaped.
Yes.
Into the regular
Diabolical.
game. All right. So Light Pulsar Dragon is summoned, and it looks like Dark Flare Dragon was the card lost on Duncan's side. Summoner's Art on Junctus' side. And the game continues.
It does. But how much longer can it go on uninterrupted?
Well, apparently a lot less time than I thought it would. be. I was not expecting the Merrick interrupt. I guess we're fine as long as neither of us get taken over by the Millennium Rod. That would be poor.
That's the best time for a villain to strike when you don't expect it.
Well, I'm on guard now, but I don't know how the rest of the players in the Ultimate Pegasus Challenge are doing. Light Pulsar Dragon's on the field, and oh my! Qliphort Scout is used to search out Qliphort Towers. And there are so many cards loaded up in the extra deck right now that it'll be a simple task to summon all of them and tribute summon Qliphort Towers.
Indeed it will.
It takes 3 Qli tributes to summon it, and when you do, you get a monster that is effectively invincible to all other card effects.
But there is one thing it is not invincible to, and that is the whims of Maximilian Pegasus.
We'll see if that comes into play soon enough. As a normal summon card, lose 1 turn, can't even try to affect it.
Yes. So,
and the 2 effects of Carrier are both activated after they are tributed. Light Pulsar Dragon returns to the hand. And now Qliphort Towers ability is activated. Qliphort Towers ability is notable for not actually doing anything to the game itself. Instead, it mind controls
Attention, everyone.
the...
Each duelist may search his or her deck for any card and add it to his or her hand. Shuffle your decks afterwards.
Oh my goodness.
So now, that's might be just what Duncan needed. Any card in his deck to try to answer that Towers.
Right after losing Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon to the mind-controlling effects of Qliphort Towers that forced him to put it into the graveyard, Pegasus has felt it wise to grant each duelist any card from their deck.
Each duelist may search his or her deck for any card and add it to his or her hand. Shuffle your decks afterwards.
I like the picks, good picks on both sides of the field. Sacrifice notable limited card for Qliphorts that they always want to see every game. And in Duncan's case, Dark Hole, which isn't going to take out the towers, but can at least get some of the damage off the field. I mean, there's only so many monster zones that you can summon monsters into.
True. Maybe he can prolong the duel so that another rule will facilitate defeat of the towers.
That is the other key in the Ultimate Pegasus Challenge. If things aren't going your way, try to drag things out.
Survive.
As long as you can.
Hope that Maximilian Pegasus will take pity on you and save you.
Well, he might. He's been doing a pretty good job this time around. It's that other guy that I'm worried about.
Yeah.
All right, Qliphort Towers is in play. Brittany checks for lose one turn. Make sure she knows how it works. Score is 7,000 to 6,400. None of the attack-altering Qliphorts are in play, mercifully, so we don't have to keep track of that. And Sacrifice is added to Qliphort Disc, which will bring it up to 3,100. That's a 3,100 and a 3,000 monster, which isn't quite enough to get things done.
It's close. It's not there yet. Uh-oh.
When you weren't looking, I turned all your monsters into jam monsters. For this turn and the subsequent 2 turns, all monsters have jam added to the ends of their names. And whenever a jam monster is destroyed, you can special summon it back to your field in defense position.
Oh, goodness. And now Duncan's Dark Hole is suddenly looking very poor.
Since that seemed to shock you so much, I'll say it again so you believe me. All of your monsters are jam monsters for this turn and the subsequent 2 turns. All monsters have jam at the end of their names. When a jam monster is destroyed, you can special summon it back to your field in defense position.
Jam monsters, known for being both undefeatable and delicious,
Indeed.
have struck in force. And now the Qliphort Tower Jam is looking more deadly than ever, because even if Duncan could get rid of it, it would just come back at the end of the turn. It would keep coming back.
But this actually will help Duncan, because now his face-down jam monster can't be destroyed. Well, can be destroyed in battle, but will come right back. So he's still he's still safe for 1 more turn.
Unless Junkless can get that carrier back and tribute it again for something to knock the monster back to the hand.
That could still happen.
Duncan is checking things out. He's going to go ahead and banish, appears to be a light and a dark monster from his graveyard for Light Pulsar Dragon, which is summoned and shifted to defense position by lose 1 turn. He's hanging on there at 900 life points and may have been given the chance to get back into this with an unending wall of Dragon Jam.
You see my conundrum here?
And that dragon is, in fact, in defense. Exactly where Duncan wants it.
Yes, it is.
The only thing that could go super wrong is if Junkless has Qliphort Shell in her deck to inflict piercing battle damage. Aerial from a different dimension is activated to put the Eclipse Wyvern, Dark Flare Dragon, and Dark Arm Dragon back into the graveyard. And Duncan checks. Looks like he wants to banish 2 more monsters. Sounds good to me. Going to, looks like he wants to swap Dark Flare for Dark Arm. Seems like a reasonable request.
All right. So looks like he's special summoning that Chaos Sorcerer Jam.
Yep. Chaos Sorcerer Jam is, its effect isn't going to be particularly useful right now because there are 2 Qliphorts on the field with levels higher than it.
Also,
its effect is negated from
its
lose 1 turn, and it's losing its attack points and I think defense points as well to a Qliphort Tower Jam.
Yes, but the Gam effect is not negated by lose 1 turn.
Correct.
Marek overrides that. So for 1 more turn, it appears he might be safe. This looks like it's the last turn that all monsters on the field become jam monsters and would be special summoned back to the field if they're destroyed.
The trick is, in fact, keeping those life points safe. And Qliphort Towers doesn't destroy anything with its ability. It forces the opposing duelist to send one of their monsters from the hand or the field to the graveyard. The action of it is forcing the opponent to take an action.
Attention, everyone. All old rules are no longer in effect. However, I feel like sharing some of my millennial magic. Reveal your hand and face-down cards to your opponent.
All right, so it looks like Pegasus has just overrides Merrick's jam mandate. And instead, everyone gets to reveal all cards they have.
Power of the Millennium Eye is mighty indeed,
So-
and he's chosen to share it with the people of the Ultimate Pegasus Challenge this time around.
So there are no secrets in this duel anymore.
And there's no infinite walls of monsters either. And we see that Raiko was on Duncan's side of the field. Classic flip effect monster is one of the most highly used for its ability to destroy any card on the field.
Yes, it's like the good old man-eater bug, but with an additional effect.
Two carriers are pendulum summoned, and they are both tributed for Qliphort's stealth. And with that, all three of Duncan's monsters will get knocked off the field, and there will be no chance to chain to it because of Qliphort's stealth.
Even if they were jam monsters.
Even
they'd
if they
be
were
off the
jam
field.
monsters. So Qliphort's stealth was too stealthy to deal with Merrick's rules.
Pegasus almost interfered to help her out, but she didn't actually need it.
Didn't actually need his help.
So
better not tell him about that. He might not be too happy.
I think he already knows.
My
Oh, dear.
Master of the Destroyer transports your duel to the Shadow Realm. Its spirit lingers, and duelists may activate trap cards from their hands.
All right, so we've got
For-
an
For this turn and the subsequent 2 turns.
All right, so
I
duelists-
repeat, duelists can activate their trap cards from their hands for this turn and the subsequent 2 turns.
Nectar the Destructor's ability takes hold, and our duelists will get 3 turns worth of activating trap cards from their hands.
Yes.
At least I presume that that is how it would be willed. I don't think our feature matches would dare to infringe upon the will of Merrick, and if they did, I'm sure his Millennium Magic would correct that right away.
I would assume you're correct, but who knows if Pegasus will interfere and override it.
Yes, anything can happen in the middle of the side decking phase. No one knows.
That's part of the fun of the Ultimate Pegasus Challenge.
Starter duelist, Michael Molina. Your event is starting in row 6.
Both players are carefully
Row 6 of the green
adjusting their decks to see, are there any cards in here that I have a bad feeling about?
Yeah.
Were there any cards that were ever used to defeat Mr. Pegasus? I should probably take those out of my deck just in case. I see Duncan looking at a Mirror Force there. That held a key position in Pegasus's duel against Yugi at the end of Duelist Kingdom.
That's
Able
true.
to reflect the effect of the Toon monsters.
That's
and
right.
eliminate all of them.
That's how Pegasus lost it all.
Looks like Brittany is just about ready, shuffling up. Chaos Dragons are normally very strong, but in the face of lose 1 turn, it can be difficult to get all the damage you need fast enough to win if you have to spend
All
each turn
right,
for-
all
Oh,
right,
dear.
everyone. Choose a card in your opponent's graveyard. Set it to your side of the field.
Fortunately, these 2 duelists are side decking, so that rule will not have an impact. But for everyone else currently in the Ultimate Pegasus Challenge, they get to use the effect of Mimicat, which is actually one of the giant cards of the weekend. And they get to set any card
One
from
more
the
time.
opponent's
Choose a
graveyard.
card in your opponent's
This, I think, works in
graveyard.
Duncan's
Set
favor.
it to your
Duncan's
side
deck
of the field.
puts a lot of cards into the graveyard. Brittany Jungles does not.
That's
they
true.
mostly go to the extra deck.
You're right. So that rule would have been more beneficial to her had it been made while they were still doing it.
And it looks like they are ready to get back underway here.
And I suppose they can play trap cards for the first 3 turns?
I'd let them.
Yeah, I would think so.
No one said that rule stopped being in effect.
They're still in the Shadow Realm. Machiura's spirit still lingers.
Got to be a little careful about that, though. You
I
probably
can
don't-
sense the
Uh-oh.
presence of the winged dragon of Ra. By paying 1,000 life points for each monster, you may smite any number of your opponent's monsters and send them to the graveyard.
I'm thinking it's going to be 0.
Whoever is the turn player chooses how many monsters to destroy first. Once again, that is 1,000 life points for each monster. And you can smite any number of your opponent's monsters, sending them to the graveyard.
And it looks like our duelists have dodged the Wrath of Ra. Very important. You would not want to get struck by lightning in the middle of a duel and be unable to continue, especially if you've already got it won. We've seen that happen before.
We have.
In other particular large tournaments.
All right, so the duel's underway, and the effects are likely to be relevant now when Marek and Pegasus interfere.
Summoner's Art is activated. Most likely bringing this Qliphort Scout from the deck. And offers it for a cut. Although I think it's highly likely that we'll be seeing another search before the turn is through. Goes with Upstart Goblin next. That's interesting. And then he goes ahead.
1 hour remaining to register.
Has picked up Qliphort Stealth. Qliphort Scout is activated. Its effect is then used, paying 800. Takes a look through. And grabs Qliphort Monolith once again. So a mirror image of the first turn from our last duel.
And that worked out pretty well for her in Duel 1.
Yep.
So
why not try it again?
Yeah. Seems likely to work out again.
Monolith is activated next.
Pendulum zones are all set up.
And
summons a stealth.
It's like a normal summon of stealth. The rest of the cards in her hand are traps. She sets 2 of them face down and keeps Climate Change in hand. Lila, Lightsworn Sorceress is summoned. That's a good card right now. Lila has 1,700 attack points.
All right, everyone. Each duelist may draw up to 2 cards, but loses 1,000 life points for each card he or she chooses to draw.
Well, I think Duncan is
Now,
going to take advantage of
whoever's
that.
turn it is must decide first.
So you can pay up to 2,000 and get 1 draw for
Let
each
me repeat
1,000
that.
points you
Each
pay.
duelist may draw up to 2 cards, but loses 1,000 life points for each card he or she chooses to draw. And whoever's turn it is must decide first.
And Duncan's wasting no time.
Yeah, that Lila hasn't even hit the field yet. He's already drawn his 2 cards.
Like, nope, I'm taking my 2 cards.
Yes.
And
So
Youngless is taking a close look at Lila. Her ability lets her shift defense position to destroy any spell or trap on the field.
it looks like these players don't realize Machiura is still in play. She set 2 cards to her back. Or one of them
I
was
think
lose
she
1
might.
turn, which she would have set anyway. But the
Yeah.
other is Solemn Warning, which you could expect she probably would have kept in her hand.
She might be thinking about playing the Climate Change from her hand if any of her cards are destroyed by Lila.
That is also possible.
And she just picked up Bottomless Trap Hole as well off of the rule, but not before Lila was already summoned. Charger's Light
so
Brigade
looks
is
like-
up next.
Looks like she let Lila reach the field.
And she did pay 1,000 to get a draw. Duncan paid 2. But he had that free 1,000 for
I'm feeling a little
Uh-oh.
homesick. For this turn and the subsequent 2 turns, Necro Valley is considered to be in play.
Oh no.
Yes.
With Necro Valley in play, Duncan's graveyard strategies are
Cards can't
hosed.
leave the graveyard as though Necro Valley's effect were active. Necro Valley is in play.
So not only is Necro Valley active, its abilities to stop cards from leaving the graveyard are also in play, leaving Duncan out of luck if he wants to banish any of his monsters or revive them.
Purely evil.
Which is, in fact, one of the main strategies of the Chaos Dragon deck.
So yeah, that's going to be little to no impact on Brittany's strategy, as she rarely summons from the graveyard.
Lila will be destroyed. Or rather, Lila will be shifted to defense position to destroy Qliphort Scout, which then goes to the extra deck. And this is actually the last turn, if I'm counting correctly, in which traps can be played from the hand. That is now no longer in effect. Pot of Duality is activated.
Nope,
That's the real Necro Valley. It's the real Necro Valley. And Junkless can't believe it. It's like, I don't even need to pick this card now.
Yeah, well, that effect is going to wear off pretty soon. It's only 3 turns. We've already been through
only
1.
3.
So
That is a very interesting choice then. You take the fake Necro Valley and just roll with it, or go for the real one. And these two are very clearly enjoying themselves.
oh, it looks like Duncan forgot to send the top 3 cards to his graveyard. So.
Oops. Take care of that now.
Yeah. Could fix
More
that
cards
now.
that can't leave. It is a tough choice.
That's it. Valley of the Kings.
Wonder if Merrick's Millennium Magic had anything to do with that.
This Necro Valley is now in her hand.
And on the field, but also not on the field. Riddle me that. How does that work? 2 cards face down. Goes ahead and shuffles the upstart Goblin and crew back into the deck.
Try not to cover up the background.
I think it would do her well if she could get rid of that Lila.
Certainly. You had to stop sending cards from the deck to the graveyard and remove it from the field so it's no longer threatening her back rows.
Yep.
And
And
that's-
more importantly, when she does have to play that Necro Valley,
Yes. Her field spell zone.
it'll be safe. So this is the last turn of
Also afterwards.
All
Pseudo Necro Valley.
enough fun and games with me. I'm going to leave it to my trusted deputy to continue for the rest of the tournament.
Uh-oh. Well, what does that mean?
Peace.
What?
So this turn is still Necro Valley.
Well, anybody but Merrick, really.
It's important industrial illusions business.
Yeah, never stops.
Necro Valley's effect is still active.
And I believe now it's just run out. Climate Change is activated. Gets you up to 3 Qliphort monsters from your extra deck back to your hand.
Well, the Scout's all she wants.
Perfect for bringing back Qliphort Scout.
Reactivates the Scout. Thinks about what she's going to do next, how she's going to most effectively use that Scout.
Still got the Necro Valley. And is that Solemn Warning? Is that still Solemn Warning?
Did you take the 8?
That is a solemn warning in her hand.
She took 1,000. He took 2,000, but she played upstart. Oh, so I was right. You were right. Yep, 62.
Just think about what is that face down monster. Well, there's already been Ryko. Ryko's been seen. And now she's going to go ahead and take her Qliphort Scout Search.
Like she's adding Qliphort Carrier to her hand.
Pretty good choice. Being able to constantly recycle Qliphort Carriers and tribute them for your bigger monsters is a great way to make sure that your opponent is never able to defend against you. She goes ahead and tributes Qliphort Stealth for Qliphort Carrier. That puts it into play with its full level. It's level 6 instead of 4, and it's got its full 2,400 attack points. And that means that Ryko can't destroy it, because it's only level 2. Ryko will, of course, destroy Scout. So that is the most pressing need.
Seems like a wise choice since the Scout gets an extra card to her hand every turn.
And the 3 cards are sent to the graveyard. Looks like Card Trooper. And now Junkless follows up with the Necro Valley. It's good to get as many of those cards into the graveyard as possible so they can't be used later on. Oh, but Duncan picks up another Lila off the top of his deck.
But we know that Junkless has a bottomless trap hole. Oh.
Summons it and activates Trap Stun.
Very quickly activates Trap Stun.
As opposed to the other way around.
That's a curious play, because now she can... I assume that's on the summon of the Lila, right? So she would be able to chain the bottomless trap hole.
He played the Lila first and then flipped it. And she does, in fact, chain
That
bottomless
is
trap hole.
exactly what happens. So that was extremely unfortunate for Duncan, who now lost his Lila, can't access his graveyard due to the effect of Necro Valley.
He's going to have to deal with more Qliphorts next turn.
And yeah.
Brittany can recompile her pendulum zones.
Is she able to? Well, she's not able to at the moment, right? I don't believe she has another pendulum monster in her hand.
No, she'll need to draw one of the many scale 9
Yes.
monsters in the deck. It could be another Scout, could be a Summoner's Art, could be Helix.
Yes. So there's a lot of cards she can draw to assemble that field next turn. But presently, she doesn't have it.
All right. Burial from a Different Dimension is activated to put Lila back into the graveyard.
Doesn't accomplish much here, because he still can't summon any of the cards in his hand, since he's already normal summoned and can't banish from his graveyard. So he can't summon that Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning, or that Light Pulse.
Wow. Junkless picks up Summoner's Art, and she's going to go get the other Qliphort Scout.
Oh, seems likely. Yep,
Probably
there it is.
the only normal monster left in her deck. That, the pendulum zones will be reoccupied.
Once again, she pays 800 life points to get another card from her deck. Looks like it's the Towers.
Oh, it's the Towers again. Qliphort Towers, whether it's a jam or just the tower, has been putting in a lot of work in this duel.
Yes. And now all of them were tributed, and there it is. The Towers is on the field.
People are going completely insane hearing that.
And yeah, it's also secured by Necro Valley. That's not helping the situation.
Pretty good. This effect is activated. Card Trooper is sent to the graveyard. And now Junkless has Solemn Warning and Qliphort Towers on the field, and is able to swing for 3,000.
That Soul Charge could be an interesting top deck if it weren't
Necro
rendered
Valley
completely useless by Necro Valley.
As he still has enough life points to play it, he's just got to somehow get rid of Necro Valley. Confirming.
Easier said than done.
Confirming with the judges what exactly Necro Valley does. Its
like
text shifts like the sands of Egypt, but
yes,
the current correct text is that it negates the effect of any card that would move a card other than itself from the graveyard.
Yes.
It also prevents banishing from the graveyard
Yes.
all the time.
Looks like Duncan can't really do anything here. The only card in his hand that he can even play is the Debris Dragon. And he... Well, actually, he can play the Debris Dragon... No, he actually can play the Debris Dragon, banish it to summon Rise Darkness Metal Dragon. And then use the Metal Dragon to special summon Light Pulsar. But, you know, that really doesn't get him too far.
Yeah.
It just puts monsters on his field.
Monsters that are going to lose 500 due to the towers.
Yeah, but I don't see what other option he really has here.
Nope. You got to go for it.
Yeah, he's pretty much defeated at this point.
And after it's flipped, or after it's summoned, lose one turn is flipped, so anything else is going to come in defense.
So that Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, while he could still special summon it, can't use its effect.
Duncan takes another look at Necro Valley. He's paid 2,000 life points to rules to draw 2 cards, and he's taken 3,000 from Qliphort Towers.
Yes, he did gain 1,000 from Upstart Goblin. But he's not in great shape.
Nope.
Real question here is, can he survive one more turn?
That is what he's trying to figure out right now, and his only real shot is to put up a big wall in defense position.
Yes. Realistically, though, is even if he does survive one more turn, what is he hoping to draw? Is there anything that can actually save him?
Oh, that's a good question. He would need some kind of attack modifier to make a monster big enough to get rid of the towers. So he could say, well, if he still had his normal summon, he already used the normal summon, but being able to special summon the Red Eyes, tribute it for Light Pulsar, and then if he had an equip card, for example.
Or Honest.
What's that? Dragon Shield? Oh no, that just makes it indestructible by battle. Doesn't give you thing. I'm thinking of the other shield that you use with warriors. I think it's called Magnum Shield. That players used for a while with warrior monsters to defeat Qliphort towers. They strapped it to Dante, who has 2,500 defense to be added on to his 1,000 attack points.
That's an interesting way to beat towers.
Even with the 500 reduction, it's still 3,000.
Yes.
You'll be able to crash with the towers and get your Dante effect.
Fortunately for Duncan, he has nothing like that here. He just has a Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon in defense mode. And it looks like it's back to Junkloss's turn.
Paying 800?
Yes, and with the Scout still on the field, she's adding a disc to her hand.
Pendulum summons 3 monsters out. That's Carrier Stealth and a Scout. 2 of them are attributed for disc. And disc's effect, it was tribute summoned by tributing Qli monsters. So she gets to summon 2 more from her deck, which, unless they're normal monsters, will go in defense position. Actually, a very interesting version of Qliphort's that I toyed around with once used 3 monoliths to summon out with Qliphort disc. Because even if you lose a turn into play, you still get 28 plus 24 plus 24. Which is a massive amount of damage.
Because it's a normal monster.
Because it's a normal monster, it doesn't go to defense.
That's an interesting use of that. And that's it.
That's it.
Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon returned to Duncan's hand as a result of the carrier's effect. And then she finished off the duel with some direct attacks. So with a little bit of help from Maximilian Pegasus and Marek Ishtar, she is moving on with a 1-0 record in the Ultimate Pegasus Challenge.
It looks like everybody had a blast, and I hope everybody watching at home enjoyed this too.
Yeah, this is
we
one
will
of the
return you to your regularly scheduled World Championship qualifier next round, where we'll pick things back up with, I believe, round 6. But until then, please enjoy another episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Animated Series.